From the shores of Summer Lake in Tigard, Oregon, it's the Portland Tim Beers Podcast, a show featuring two guys who love craft beer and Portland Timbers soccer. And now, here are your hosts, Jason and Gary.
Tim Beers, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gary.
We're the Portland Tim Beers. We talk about soccer, beer, and pretty much whatever else we want. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing pretty good. About yourself?
Not bad, not bad. So, well, here we are. 1/2/2022, just after the new year.
Year 3 of COVID.
Year 3 of COVID, yeah. Well, just the way it rolls, dude. So, yep, here we are. Omicron is striking, and we're still alive. So,
yeah, here we are.
And you got your booster, right?
Not yet.
Oh, soon?
Trying to get it, but you know, with the holiday stuff coming up that we had, I didn't want to take the chance of not being able to do that stuff. Yeah. So I was like, I'll hold off till after the new year, and then I'll get the booster.
Well, I might know a place where you can get a booster. So,
well.
Yeah. Well, we got a great show lined up for today. All sorts of good stuff coming at us. So we figured we would take the approach of, instead of doing the typical look back at 2021 show, we'll do a little bit of that with some of the stuff that's in the news. But I thought we'd share an interview that we've yet to air that we recorded from Fresh Hop, so something from 2021.
Yes.
Our famous Bale Breaker interview that we've been teasing for a while with Kevin and Megan. So,
an amazing interview.
Amazing interview. So we'll get up to that tonight. We also have some beer news to discuss, as well as we're going to do something fairly interesting on the show tonight. We've got 2 beers we're drinking, only 2, but 2 of the small sample glasses have a beer. It's the Sunriver Cocoa Cow S'mores Edition. And then Yachats Brewing's Cannon Fodder, which is a mixed culture Belgian dark ale out of, again, Yachats, Oregon. And so we're going to drink 2 just straight, and then we're going to smoke 2 with a cold infuser.
It'll be interesting to see how that works out. Now, the question is, what kind of smoke are we going to smoke them with?
Well, we get to choose. So if we were live, I would say, hey, let's put it out to the fans to vote. So that ain't going to happen. It'd take weeks.
Nope. Take way too long.
So we got choices of pear. I believe we have hickory, mesquite, and... No, we don't have hickory. We have mesquite, pear, cottonwood, and...
There's a 4th one, and I'm not remembering what it was.
Pecan? No. Peach?
It was something weird.
I thought cottonwood was pretty weird.
Yeah, that one is weird.
Well, so yeah, we got to figure out what to smoke. And so what do you think would complement the s'mores campfire?
I don't know on that one. Maybe the mesquite?
I think it's hickory and mesquite, and then I think it's pear and cottonwood.
Either that or the hickory. The hickory might go really good with the s'mores.
Ooh.
I don't know.
That might be good.
And then I'm thinking the pear with the mixed culture.
Ooh, we can do that. Yeah, there you go. Well, so yeah, we will come at you here shortly as we sip the regular. We can't sip them all the way down, but then we're going to go smoke these and jump back. So let's give this. Well, let's talk a little bit about the interview with Kevin and Megan. So So we went down to Fresh Hop in September. That was our away days trip for this year. So now it's 2022. We've got to worry about what our away day is going to look like for this year.
Yeah, so it was actually our away day for last year.
Yeah.
Now that we're already into this year.
Yeah, because we're supposed to go we were supposed to go 2020. We ended up going 2021. And great time. But part of the thing with Fresh Hop is all of these people descend upon Yakima, Washington. Beer connoisseurs, brewers, hop buyers,
hop fanatics.
Yeah, I mean, just this crazy amount of people fly into Yakima, and a lot of them are looking at buying futures in hops for next year's crops, not the current crop. So Kevin and Megan hosted a couple shindigs at their place at Bale Breaker there.
Nope.
And we stopped in, and Kevin agreed to meet us once again for an interview. So we had the chance to sit down with Kevin and learn about a little bit about what was going on with Bale Breaker in the last year, especially with COVID and what was happening. So also interesting stuff is kind of what their future is. And so what are they looking at doing and growing. So enjoy the interview, but this is a look back at Bale Breaker 2021, recorded just before the Fresh Hop event. All right, it's Jason from the Timbers here, and we're over at Bale Breaker with Kevin and Megan. And again, it's been about a year since I've been out here. Kevin and I sat on the back deck. It was much quieter. It was a lovely day. There were hop vines all around us, and they're all plucked out now, so you guys are harvested. But thanks for having us back. Appreciate it. It's a busy time of year for you guys.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you guys back. Pretty busy. Our original farm, Loftus Ranches, that was founded in 1932. We finished picking this morning at 4:30 a.m. Our new farm that was started 4 or 5 harvests ago now, down in Granger, about 25 miles away. They still got a few more days left, so good luck with them. That's been a real long harvest.
So the weather was weird. So we had COVID, shut everybody down. You guys opened back up. Everybody survived, and all of a sudden this weird, wacky weather hit. And I know it hit the hop farms like particularly rough, right? I mean, there's some varietals that actually got hit pretty hard. How'd you guys do?
Yeah, we're lucky. Megan's dad, my father-in-law, for the last few decades has been working really hard on the soil health and the biology of the soil and making sure that's really healthy. Makes the plants healthier, makes them more resistant to, unforeseen things. So we were lucky on the farms. We've done very well, and actually, kind of right before harvest, it looked like the yield might be, below annual average or historic average, excuse me. But we've actually been slowed down because we've had such big yields. We've had to slow down the picking machines to get the sorting on. So I think what Pat, Megan's older brother who runs the farms now, Mike, and then our head agronomist Sam have been doing with the health of the soil and just the health of the hop plants. It really paid off this year. Where there's some farms that were hurt. I mean, we were hitting 115 plus in June, which is not heard of. We had an unseasonably cool spring, and then extreme heat, and then smoke, and all sorts of stuff. It was a rough year, but quality's really good, and yield is better than expected. So
outstanding. Well, so I'm going to turn it over. I had the pleasure of learning all about the brewery, but Gary and Tim, I'm sure, have a ton of questions, including the Seattle Tap Room. That's plugged for their tap room there. So I'll hand this mic over to Tim and Gary. So.
Well, first off, just thank you for taking time. Holy crap, you guys finished at 4:30 this morning. Every day's been a Monday. You guys must be exhausted because your go on this time, what do you average? 60, 70 hours a week between the fields and brewing?
Luckily, we don't have to do any of the picking ourselves. We have a whole crew. I mean, the biggest thing for us is just hosting all the breweries that are here. 2019 pre-COVID, I mean, it was probably 300-400 breweries would come through here, and so it's just a lot of tours, a lot of Saturdays, a lot of Sundays. Nothing like what the farm goes through. I'm not trying to say that. The farm and the farm workers go 24/7 from the day we start, 2 shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 24/7 till the first hop is picked, till the last hop is picked. So, us having to go out and have beers with our friends from Brewdog or Stone or, Lagunitas or something like that is not, we're not, but it still gets not a lot of sleep.
Was that some name drop in there that he just rattled? I'm like, I worship all those guys. Thank you for taking time to deal with these 2 idiots and then their mascots.
That'll get edited.
I just got fired.
So one of the things that you brought up earlier was the soil, which I think is crucial in a lot of things across the board, but you're bringing that up in the hop side of it. Can you explain a little bit more about that, and if that's always been in the picture, or if that's something that you guys have realized, hey, the world is changing, we need healthier crops, we need to start paying attention to this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so Mike, I don't know, I doubt he's going to hear this, so I can probably say whatever I want, but I mean, it was probably 25, 30 years ago. He really started working on it. He came into the industry in the 70s when his grandfather passed away, and he took over the farm. And at that time, he's told me before that, there was kind of more growing by chemicals or whatever, for lack of a better term, like a lot of fertilizers and other stuff used, and that was depleting the nutrients of the soil. And to his credit, he was one of the first farms, not the first farm, in this area, at least hot farm, to start trying to put those nutrients back in the soil. And I remember when Megan and I started dating, close to 20 years ago now. Wow. When I first came to Yakima and was riding around in the truck with him, I was like, well, besides our signs are white backing with red letters, which is why our Field 41 is colored the way it is. When I first came here, he said, well, you can pretty much know which field is the Loftus Ranches field because it's the only one that has a cover crop grown down the middle of the row. So anything that you see green down the middle of, that's ours. And that was like the start of that biology. And yeah, so it's a mix of like grasses and legumes and other stuff, and then they till it back in the soil, and then that decomposes, and it, there's certain, components they're trying to get, like nitrogen, carbon, and all this other stuff back into the soil to get that biology like back in the soil and make that soil very healthy.
So, question on that. So, are those crops growing simultaneously, or is it?
Yeah. So it. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, we will grow it after they'll. Field 41 just got picked yesterday, and so if you go out in the parking lot and look, they have now rotivated the in between the rows, so it looks like dirt, but that was grass when they were picking it yesterday, or whatever other cover crops. Sam, our lead agronomist, or what I call him, director of agronomy. I don't know what his actual term is, or title is, but they have now tilled that through. Then they're going to come through and seed it, and then we're going to water it again.
I'm fascinated. We just drove up from Portland. So can you explain real short, and this will probably get edited too, but like, what is it as we find new variants of hops that come on board and trying to stay ahead of the curve? Do you guys can you replant a field and switch to Citra all of a sudden when Citra was the rage, or once it's Haliter, is it always Haliter, etc.?
Oh, we'd never plant that, but I get what you're saying. We'd plant Citra for sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes, no, you can replant fields. So the everything that you see above ground on a hop is an annual. Whether we pick it or not, it's going to die. And then what's ever below ground, that like root ball and stuff, it goes dormant in the winter, but then in the spring when it warms up, new vines will shoot up and grow, whether we cut it down or not. So they're actually really hard to get rid of. But we do, the major reason why we change varieties in the field now is because of us brewers. Now, I mean, Cascade has dropped, and Citra's gone up, and Mosaic's gone up, and Simcoe's gone up, and, we're pulling out certain varieties and putting in other ones, for sure. So you can do that.
Yeah, so my wife would tell you they are very aggressive. I have Cascade Centennial Mount Hood growing in the backyard, and she constantly is complaining about the condition of the backyard. So, and just pulling rhizomes out and just throwing them onto a heap, and I'm like, what are you doing? So you had a hazy win 2020 for GABA, won a silver medal. So how'd you guys do this year?
We did not win any this year, unfortunately. But yeah, Hazy L won silver last year, which was pretty good because that was our first year that we had launched the Hazy L. So, and it was our first GABF medal. So we were stoked. We had lots of friends that won medals, which is always good. And the state of Washington won more medals than they have to date, so that's awesome.
State of Washington is awesome. And then North American Brewers Awards.
We did not submit anything.
Did you guys not submit anything? Okay. No. So we're talking about next year. Our road trip might be that Twin Falls trip, just to try it out. So
I've heard it's like absolute anarchy down there.
That's what I heard. I heard hotels' rooms are already booked out, and it's crazy. And it is Twin Falls. It's small, right? So
yeah. I mean, I grew up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So
yeah,
I've definitely played some sporting tournaments in Twin Falls. It was not that crazy then, but apparently times have changed.
So talk to me about what you guys are bringing to the Fresh Hop Ale Festival. So we came in this year for Fresh Hop Ale Festival. Megan's just smiling. She's like, "No, I'm good." So I've got a question for you in a second.
Everyone says I'm the face for radio, and she's the face for video. So I guess she's making me do this.
I've got a softball for you here in a second. So what are you guys bringing to the Ale Festival? Again, a ton of people in town for this thing.
Yeah, we're bringing our citrus liquor, which is a past winner of the Fresh Hop Ale Festival contest. We're bringing Piled High, our Imperial Wet Hop. That beer we've brewed every year since 2012, since we were brewing on our Sapco Brew Magic in the milk house at the farm.
That's the story.
And so that one's won 3 times, I think. No. And then we'll be bringing homegrown. So we started growing barley.
Love homegrown series.
Three seasons ago. This is our 3rd harvest. Barley was a little rougher because of the weather, but that's 100% our grain, 100% our hops, so that's a fun one to do. So that's a Simcoe wet hop. Piled High also uses Simcoe, citrus liquor, Citra, and then we're going to bring...
But then on top we have here the Laurel.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. That might get edited out if I say
No,
that.
you're totally fine. Jump on it.
But then we got a wet hop here called Laurel Fixation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Kvake It Till You Make It. And that's a Kvik strain wet hop with Citra, probably.
I think you were eyeballing that, right?
That's my next.
Yeah, that's your next. So, good. So, all right, collabs are the big thing right now. Everybody's doing collabs. It's like the popular thing. You guys got anything in the works? What have you done? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, so Citrus Liquor is a collab we've done since 2016 with Steve Luke at Cloudburst. It started as Citrus Liquor with Elysian in 2014 with Dick Cantwell and Steve Luke, and it was our first collab we'd ever done.
Wow.
This year we also did a collab with Hidden Mother, which is a really cool brewery out of Spokane. We did on Tuesday. My brother-in-law Kevin and I were in Ballard, and we brewed an Idaho 7 wet hop with Stoop.
Yeah.
We did a 2 beers collab here. Oh yeah, Future Primitive. Kevin Watson, who at the time we were talking about the wet hop collab that ended up being Citrus Liquor, it was Kevin Watson, Kevin Smith, my brother-in-law, and Kevin myself were talking about it. So the 3 of us were going to brew it. Well, that didn't happen for whatever reason. Watson couldn't come, so it was Dick Campbell and Steve Luke. And then so this year, finally, we were like, we got to do the 3 Kevin's brews. So he now has a brewery in White Center. Yeah, White Center. Called Future Primitive. They make great beer. Kevin Watson's an awesome brewer.
So, future collabs, any ideas? So, 3-Way is a big thing down in the Oregon area, right? Mm-hmm. So, Fort George is their big, huge invite with everybody. I know Chris down at Varietal had his 3-Way this year. So, woohoo, Chris got a 3-Way. So, so I'm sure he'll get a chuckle out of that. So, interested in something like that? Do you see any future collabs that you have eyeballed?
Yeah, we have a series that we were going to start in 2020 called Friends, Frenz, and we brewed a collab with Georgetown a number of years ago.
Oh
my God!
And we called it Friends, and so we were going to launch that as a series last year, but COVID kind of screwed that up. We did release our first Friends in January or February of this year, and we brewed it with our buddies at Pint House in Austin, Texas. Well, if any of you guys can get your hands on that beer, you should, because that thing is not a beer factory. It's a factory that just makes JBF metals.
Wow.
And Joe and his team are all awesome brewers and good dudes, and we have now like a 7-8 year long prank going back and forth. And his Pint House's last one, when they were here a couple weeks ago selecting hops, was the night before we found out they distracted our 2 bartenders that were closing up, and they took a 6-pack of Hazy Ale out, and they took 5 Hazy Ales out of it, put 5 Georgetown Lucille's in it, ripped off the back of it, put it back in the can cooler, and then we were literally standing in front of the cooler the next day, and then they left to go back to Seattle. And one of our regulars comes in, and he's a big Hazy Ale fan. It's literally like the first sale of the day. He goes up, grabs the Hazy Ale 6-pack, pulls it, and 5 Lucille's fall out of it onto the ground, and everyone was like, what the heck? And Megan looks at me, and I was already texting Joe. I was like, wow, Lucille's in the Hazy Ale 6-pack. Like, that was well played. And then they sent back like a video of them all like cheering in the van driving back to SeaTac.
Fantastic. All sort of ass-hattery going on.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of the Christmas party we had with some friends where I actually went back to my house, took pictures of me, and put them in their family portraits along their house during their Christmas party.
Oh, nice.
And so several months later, my picture's in their family portraits in their hallway. So. And I'm part of their family.
That's well played.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can do something like that at Georgetown, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that kind of effort.
All right, so one of the things last time I was here, Barrel Program, you guys are known for hops. You guys are known for hoppy beers, where I'm drinking a ton of fresh hop stuff going on here. But last time we went to your barrel room, we actually just cracked one of the Belgian-inspired beers that you guys did. It holds up well. But that barrel-aged stuff you've got going on is nuts. What do you have going on with barrel stuff?
Yeah, we're going to do a release here probably around November. There's a shortage of everything going on at different points, and apparently now it's hit the 750 milliliter bottle.
Fantastic.
Size. So we were supposed to get some like last month, but we haven't received it yet. But we have the whiskey barrel aged beers coming out. We're hoping before Thanksgiving. There will be Dormancy, which is our oatmeal coffee stout. Aged in Jameson whiskey barrels, and then we'll have Incoherency, which is a blonde stout that we do, aged in Jameson barrels, and then we will have Wooden Wire, right, Mace? Wooden Wire, which is our imperial stout, which has actually won a couple medals, and we've never actually released it publicly, but it's really good, and that'll be available. All those will be available in 750 milliliter wax dip bottles.
Fantastic. I had a couple unmarked bottles that were unlabeled that you guys had done. You're like, I'm not sure how these are good to go. Again, everything was fantastic. Check out Bale Breaker's Barrel Age program. So they're known for their hoppy beers. They're known for sending that stuff out. The thing that we didn't cover, asked these guys to cover, is the Seattle Tap House. So
well, you didn't give me a minute. Give me the damn mic. Hey, Jim, you and Gary are going to lead this interview.
So Seattle, that'll get edited out. So Seattle Tap Room.
Where?
New thing. Where's it at? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so it's 826 Northwest 49th Street in Ballard. It's on 49th Street in between 8th and 9th.
So a ways from the stadiums.
Yeah. So it's we're like in the south east side of the Ballard Brewery District. We're like 4 blocks away from like Stoop and Urban Family. We're not too far away from Rubens. If you guys know where Fremont's production facility is on Leary Way, we're literally the next block up. Like from our outdoor space, you can see Fremont's production facility.
Yep. So our namesake is the Portland Tim Beers, obviously after the team that we like, and this was going to be a natural thing, you know that. So So you guys recently are the beer of the Seattle Sounders, or a beer that served as Seattle Sounders batches.
We've been lucky to have a partnership with what was Questfield, which is now Lumen Field, for a long time, and we have since started kind of outside of the beer thing, or I guess everything's a beer thing because we're a brewery, but we're working with their foundation arm called the Rave Foundation, and they have a initiative that we think is great, and that throughout the state of Washington they're raising money to put in soccer fields in public schools. Most of them, are kind of the more underfunded schools, and so their first small pitch is what they call it, that's going in east of the Cascades, is here in Yakima at Barge Lincoln Elementary, and so we love soccer. We're big fans of just supporting the community and giving back and being able to take the brewery and what we can to kind of help the community of Yakima. And so when they approached us about like having an event to raise money and awareness for what they're doing and just trying to grow the fan base here east of the Cascades and really give back to the elementary school kids of Yakima, we were all for it.
So great link. I hate that club. But that being said, awesome stuff you guys are doing. You guys talked about supporting Seattle Seahawks last time I was here, and you were at Lumen and doing your thing. This is a natural fit for you guys. We talked about how to increase your presence in that market. Great way to do it. Great supporters group for their team. So, but that being said, I love...
Fuck Seattle!
Yeah, so that being said...
That'll be edited.
That won't be edited. So
it's all good.
Yeah, so that being said, soccer is a wonderful community, so we need better beer at soccer stadiums. It's part of the tradition, and I love seeing Bale Breaker. When I go to Seattle matches, it's there, so that's cool. All right, well, you guys have been more than generous. I have one question for Megan. I'm going to pitch a softball.
But I got a softball.
Okay. So Bale Breaker, you have a logo on the side of the hat. I know we covered this last time, but for any new listeners that are out there, talk about the logo. Talk about your space here. I talk about this as like Field of Dreams type stuff. You come into the hop field, and it's kind of like you're in the middle, and you've got this little mecca of a place. Talk to me about what that is.
I mean, I grew up just down the road from here, so to me, this is home. And to be able to share what we've done for 4 generations in my family with now beer drinkers and showing them what hops mean to us and mean to my family is so special. I mean, I grew up with my house surrounded by hops, so it's really cool to now have my place of work surrounded by hops.
Yeah.
But yeah, the logo is something we worked really hard on before we opened to just make something simple and iconic, could really stand alone. But we have like a subtle nod to Field 41 in the logo. So a lot of people don't even notice it. I actually just had one of our farm managers, who I've known since I was a kid, just say the other day, I didn't realize there was a 41 in the logo. But it's just a very subtle nod. Our brewery is surrounded on 3 sides by Field 41. So
it's beautiful. My wife, I brought a hat back I got from the last interview, and my wife wears that hat stand-up paddleboarding, and she had no idea what the 41 meant. I was able to tell her that story, and like she sees that, and she loves the cut of the hat. I'm like, all right, it wasn't the guy that picked the cut of that hat, or maybe it was. But that being said, the 41 is very subtle, and again, awesome logo. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you guys have been awesome. Tim, you got any final things I need to edit out?
So we talked 2 things. First, we talked about collabs earlier, and Jason wouldn't let me introduce. You dropped a lot of big names that got us all salivating. But if there was still a collab you haven't done, where would it be, or who would it be with, and would it be a home and away? Like you get to go there,
Sierra Nevada.
Or just?
We've already done.
We've actually done a collab with
Russian River.
Yeah. Russian River. Vinny and Natalie have been getting hops off Loftus Ranches for a long time, and we've become good friends with them. They actually stay at our house when they come to do hop selection now. So we have not done that collab. I mean, maybe it'll just be really small. I don't know, but yeah, we got to. I mean, Vinny was kind of like our kind of mentor, idol, growing up in the beer industry, I guess. But you know, we've been able to do collabs with a lot of great breweries because for a lot of generations, the family hop farm has been growing really kick-ass hops, and so lots of great breweries get hops from our farm, and we're super fortunate in that. But it definitely would be great to do one with Russian River, which I'm sure we will at some point.
Okay, good. That was a cool story. All right, final question. You can edit this out too. As a spouse, but you've grown up in this industry, is there a favorite time of year? Must be breakneck because he's trying to brew as much as he can and have some part maybe in the involvement with the hops and hosting. When is your favorite time to be a spouse.
I think Megan.
She's in the ownership.
Yeah. Well, she's in the ownership.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it to Megan after this, but I mean, she does probably more than Kevin and I do combined. But it's a lot of work. We share it all, and so I don't think
he didn't catch which spouse I was talking about.
I mean, my personal favorite time of the year is this time of the year, even though we're exhausted, we're tired, we're working so hard, but I just love waking up every day and just smelling the hops in the air. I mean, we can literally smell when we change a variety. It's like, you can just tell, like, the smell is different today, so we obviously are trying something else. So this is definitely my favorite time of the year, although I would be remiss to say that, like, the day after harvest is all of this is done. Day after fresh hop is also my favorite time of the year, because it's like, my mom always said as a kid, like, the day after Christmas, she was just like, thank God that's over. It's kind of like that for us.
Yeah, those of us that have kids know that feeling, right? So it's one of those things you get after Christmas, you're like, oh, thank God. Like, family's leaving, kids have opened their presents, this thing's done. I can take down the decorations, like all of that. So you guys have been awesome. So thank you so much. And
thank you guys. Great to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Good seeing you. Again, you guys check out Bale Breaker. Awesome location. I've bragged about this location many times. Set in the middle of a hop field, perfectly cut. We look forward to seeing you guys at Fresh Hop, trying your guys' stuff at the Ale Fest.
Yeah, and we do distribute throughout Oregon, too. So
we talked about you had a Portland guy at one point, right?
Yes,
you still have him?
Do. Yeah.
Danny?
Yeah, Danny McGibbon.
Yeah.
Danny Mac. He's out there slinging the beer all throughout Oregon. So you can look for it in grocery stores, and tap rooms, and all throughout.
Yeah, listeners, John's Market. I was at John's about a week ago, and Bale Breaker stuff sitting front and center up. They've got perfect shelf space. So,
and not only do they get all of our core beers, but they do get like our Imperial Hazy series, which is called Clarity Rarity. That always gets sent down into the Oregon market. Our homegrown series also always gets sent down to the Oregon market, and our three major wet hop beers, the Piled High, Citrus Liquor, and homegrown, are also going to be.
Now, if I can get limited barrel release down there every once in a while,
they do.
That would be good.
We do.
I haven't seen it, so okay.
Yeah,
it must sell out before I snag it.
We got to get Danny Mac on that.
Come on, Danny. All right, guys, take care, and again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Right,
cheers, guys.
All right, we're back with smoked beers.
Oh, yes.
This was a interesting science experiment. We'll get to that. So huge thanks to Kevin and Megan. Awesome interview. I forgot how good that interview was. Tim, I did not edit you out, even though I said it twice.
No.
Was gonna.
It had to make the show, though, because it just makes it that much funnier.
But yeah, I mean, awesome. If you guys get a chance and you go to Yakima, you got to stop in a Bale Breaker. So awesome.
Great place.
Setting, cutting the hop fields there. They're actually cutting down hop vines as we were there. But yeah, beautiful place and fantastic beer. And
definitely.
Kevin pays attention to quality. So everything is quality, and they'll chuck beer if it doesn't meet the quality spec. So,
which is amazing.
Yep. And then, as much as we hate Seattle, we got to go up to Seattle and check out some of those
their tap room.
Those breweries up there. Reuben's is down the street from them, but I think it'd be fun to stop on a Bale Breaker there and then go over to Reuben's and some of those. So, all right. Well, so back to our science experiment. We tried a Cocoa Cow, a part of their Herd Mentality series, the S'mores Stout.
Yeah.
And then we also have the Cannon Fodder, a mixed culture Belgian dark ale by Yachats Brewing. And then what we did was we kept two normal and have two samples that we smoked. One with cherry wood.
Yep, and that was the S'mores Stout.
So S'mores has been cold smoked with cherry wood by us, and it is ridiculous.
So I want you guys to picture sitting by a campfire, sitting by your home fire, whatever. You put that marshmallow on the end of the stick, usually a willow stick if you're out in the woods. You stick it in the fire, you get it all nice and roasty, toasty, it catches fire, you pull it out real quick, you blow it off. You got that little black char on the outside of your marshmallow now. Now, imagine peeling that off, put it in your mouth. Now, think of that taste. That's exactly what this beer tastes like.
Yeah, it's interesting. The s'more stout, it's got cocoa nibs, lactose. It's their traditional milk chocolate stout that they've won awards with a little bit of graham and maybe a little bit of a marshmallow note, kind of some sweetness. And then, so we cold smoked it with cherry wood. And it adds that charred effect.
Just like a charred
campfire smell.
And crazy.
So good. So, I don't know. We might have to patent that. Because
we might have to. Because that's pretty damn good.
Or do a collab. I can't imagine using my little smoker gun, though, that I have. So, doing a shit ton of beer that way. But.
Well, you'd have to, modify it. Make a bigger smoker gun somehow. Pump it in through the top of their fermenters.
We're going to do bigger fire.
We're definitely going to do bigger fire.
And a lot more cherry wood if we're doing that.
A lot more.
But it's amazing because just as you talked about, I thought that just smoking it would be just the top layers. And it's all the way through the glass.
All the way through the glass. It's kind of impressive.
A couple minutes of smoke on it. So.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have the Cannon Fodder here. So Cannon Fodder, Belgian dark ale mixed culture. It's got lacto, I believe, and Brett. It's a
zinger.
It's a zinger. It's got craziness in it. We smoked that with...
Smoked it with pearwood.
Pearwood.
And
it did some interesting stuff.
It did. The unsmoked beer does the typical beer thing, or typical sour or mixed culture thing to you. You drink it, you're waiting for it, and all of a sudden your muscles clench in your jaw, and you're like, oh, wow, there it is. Well, the smoked version of that, you don't get that. It's balanced. It's really smooth. It kind of takes out some of that initial punch of the sour and then levels it out, which is really kind of impressive.
Yeah, it's got kind of a weird smoky taste to it, but it definitely gets rid of it. Kind of mellows it from hitting too many highs and all that. So interesting. I don't feel like it was as robust as the s'more stout. Maybe that's because of the chocolate and the sweetness with the cherry wood.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe pear smoke or pear wood is just a little more mellow. I don't know than cherry. But it definitely had an interesting impact on the beer. You put the two side by side, and you can definitely tell the difference between which one was smoked and which one was not.
Yeah. Well, interesting stuff. So, fun little experiment. Again, little hand smoker. So, it's got a little trigger, essentially a little fan gun, and a little basket in the front with a tube that you light the wood chips on fire. The fan blows the smoke down the tube and into your glass or whatever you're doing. So, pretty handy little device. Little Merry Christmas gift from my father. So,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool thing. But yeah, it certainly worked out on this one. It'll be fun to try that with some other stuff. And spirits, maybe.
Yes.
That'd be fun to do that.
That's what it shows on the box.
Yeah. Well, and I smoked cheese with it. Huh? Might have smoked some water. But, yeah.
That's just called bong water, isn't it?
It's just called bong water. Yeah, I could do, I probably smoke some meats with that, right?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, you could definitely probably smoke some meat with that.
Yeah, I don't know how long you have to keep it on, but...
I don't know. It didn't seem to take long for these beers, so... I don't know how much more different it would be for the meat, and you did cheese, so you already know that.
Yeah,
that timeline.
Well, so let's jump into our next little segment here, beer news.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
All right, beer news for 2022.
Wow, we're already there. 2022.
I know, pretty
it's
amazing.
Crazy.
Well, so you enjoyed our first story. 1119 Guinness released a barrel-aged mint chocolate stout.
Yes.
10% by volume.
I actually got that one for Christmas from you guys.
Yeah.
Very interesting beer. I'm not sure about mint in beer, though. I was thinking... When I was drinking it, I was thinking, okay, this tastes almost like a thin mint, but not quite there. And I'm wondering if that's what they were shooting for. But I think that might have been just because of the higher alcohol content. Might have muted some of the stuff.
Right.
But then the mint itself I don't know that it lends itself to Guinness. I don't know that mint lends itself to any beer, really, but... it wasn't bad. I mean, but it's definitely one of those beers that when you drink it, you're like, okay, I can drink one, but probably not more than one.
Yeah. Well, so limited release, they may not do it again. So it did it came in a 4-pack.
Yeah.
Of course, you get a John's, you get it in a single.
Sure.
But yeah, interesting little spinoff. You don't see a lot of limited release stuff by Guinness that way.
No, you really don't.
Especially stuff that's kind of outside their
that's
their bailiwick.
That's kind of way outside their wheelhouse.
All right, so January 1st of 2022, you know what happened?
Lots of stuff. The year changed over.
Katy Perry.
Oh, no.
In Vegas, opening her show, says, I'm thirsty in the middle of her show. She's wearing a beer can bra, cracks a beer can bra, cracks one open, and drinks from her beer can bra right there on stage.
Whose beer?
Hers. It was in her bra.
No. Whose beer, though, got to
we
stay
don't
in
know.
there?
Because they would it was like welded into the bra. So like basically there were these beer cans in the bra. So there's all viral. All the kids are watching it on the old TikTok and all that stuff. So, yeah. So the beer can bra with
Little
Katy Perry.
boob beer.
Yeah, we need to figure out whose beer that was.
Yeah.
I mean, is Katy Perry brewing beer now?
Maybe.
Does she have a Katy Perry beer we don't know about?
Katy Perry beer.
Katy Perry.
Interesting.
There you go. Beer news, folks. 2/17 to 2/19, the Iliani Brew Festival up at the Iliani Casino. So coming up, this is kind of a big deal. So they've had it for a few years, and the thing over the weekend is they got a bunch of breweries showing up and serving a bunch of beers, but they're also doing like beer and food tastings. They have like the Michael Jordan Steakhouse there. They've got all their fine dining stuff they're doing, beers paired with different meals. But then they're also having a beer competition too. So 2/17 to 2/19. Again, check it out, the Iliani Brewfest. And then the next weekend after that is in theory, the Hills Brewfest.
Oh, yes.
By Art Lawrence and Teddy. So
depends on what Omicron decides to throw at us, but
yeah. So we're waiting to hear if that's going to be rescheduled or not. But right now it appears that it's on. But they're not selling tickets, which makes me think that something's going on there. But 2/25 to 2/27, the Hills Brewfest. Again, a bunch of Oregon beers and tokens and all sorts of stuff there. So.
Maybe they're creating the scarcity thing.
Maybe. But.
Like you can't get it till you can get it.
I think this. We're going to see how this does. Does it spike at the end of January? And then, if that case, they in the clear.
They trash it.
Yeah. So,
depends.
All right. So Deschutes shuts down its East Coast pub. So on 12/31 at New Year's Eve, they announced last call in the Deschutes pub in Roanoke, Virginia. And that was it. They shut the doors right after that. So they are no longer open on the East Coast. Deschutes shuts it down.
Wow.
And I'm hearing rumors about something going on with Sierra Nevada. And again, it's tough to take your brand on the West Coast and take it to the East Coast and have people adopt it.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just a difference in taste by beer drinkers on what they like and what they don't like.
I think it's also probably regional. We've talked about this. Like, you associate with your regional brewery, right? And if you know this is an Oregon brewery and it's kind of like a one-off thing, especially during COVID where times are tough and you're not necessarily going out.
Yeah.
I think there's that was an uphill battle. I think that was tough for them.
Right.
Probably tough for Sierra Nevada. So we'll see how that pans out for those guys. All right. Well, the biggest news is the one of the newest lists. Who is the Beer City USA?
Who is it?
For 2021. So when we look back into 2021, who is Beer City USA?
In 2021.
2021. So that plays out. You're the grand champion until next year when they name it.
Yeah.
So who do you think? Number one.
For 2021?
2021.
City or...
It's not Roanoke, Virginia.
Of course not.
City.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Number one. Total breweries in their town, 28. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
What? Pittsburgh pulled that off?
Breweries per 100,000 residents, 9.4.
Wow.
28 breweries. Average number of beers per brewery, 68.5.
That's a lot of beers.
That's a lot of beers per brewery. Bars per 100,000 residents, 29 bars for every.
Right.
Yeah. Average price of a pint, $4.
Oh, that's they did it off price.
And they got an index of 100, so they're the highest rated based upon those 4 factors.
Those 4 factors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or 5 factors.
They got a nice cheap pint.
Number 2, Bend, Oregon.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So total breweries 25, to Pittsburgh's 28. Breweries per 100,000 residents, 24 to Pittsburgh's 9.4. So you get 24 breweries per 100,000.
That's insane.
That's pretty awesome. 89.5 as far as number of beers per brewery.
Okay.
So bars per 100,000, 18 bars per 100,000. Price of a pint, $4. Score of 99.32. Number 3, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go ahead.
What I find very interesting here between those two, I would love to see cost of living per city.
Yeah.
Because you may have a great beer city, but if you can't afford to live there to drink the beer, what good is it?
True. Number 3, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 4, Cincinnati. We get down to number 9 before we see Portland, Oregon.
Really?
Yeah. Portland, Oregon sitting at 79 total breweries. Looks like one of the highest. I'll give you the highest here shortly. And sitting at $5.75 for a pint instead of the $4 in Bend.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever paid that little for a pint.
I know. Portland, Maine, number 10.
Oh.
Behind Portland, Oregon.
Creeping up.
So let's see where good old Shittle is as we scroll down the list. Missoula, Montana, 13.
Oh.
Columbus, Ohio, 17. Reno, Nevada, 19. Still don't see Seattle. Where are you, Seattle? Knoxville, Bellingham, Washington.
Wow.
Where Skookum's at, 22. Coming on down, not seeing them.
Seattle even in the top 50?
Oklahoma City, 36th.
Oh.
It's tied with Spokane, Washington for 36th.
All right.
So Spokane, 36.
Spokane's above Seattle.
I'm still not seeing Seattle. Tulsa, you're here.
Tulsa,
38.
Oklahoma, baby.
Scrolling. 42. Number 42 on the list.
Idaho.
Seattle, Washington.
Oh, really? 42? Seattle?
Price of a pint, $7. Number of breweries in Seattle, 69.
Well, that's a good number.
Yeah, there you go.
Gotta give them that.
There you go. 42. You're just above Indianapolis, Indiana.
42nd. Come on, Seattle.
Make it a competition, Seattle.
You got to step up the game.
Yeah, and we skipped over Denver. Denver's sitting at 12 above Missoula. So Denver's at $6 a pint.
Is Bozeman even listed in there?
I don't see Bozeman. Interesting, Missoula's in here.
Interestingly enough,
Eugene's in there.
I read some beer stuff, and Missoula is listed as the Mecca as far as Montana cities go for beer.
Yeah. Remember when I was in Missoula, there's a bunch of breweries in Missoula. So
yeah.
Bozeman's tough. There's really like the 4 or 5 that's sitting there.
Yeah. And it's now Bosangeles, according to a lot of places, too. So there's that.
You know what? That's probably invented by the Duttons. Good old John Dutton.
Good old John Dutton.
John Dutton. That's the season finales tonight.
Ooh,
right
for
now.
season 4?
Yeah. Season 4 finales tonight.
Wow.
Happening right now as we're recording this. So
that's probably a good thing because I've only watched one episode.
Yep. Well, all right, there you go. Best beer city beer drinkers, and this is again according to Smart Asset. They give the data methodology. We'll put the link in our podcast show notes. But number 1, Pittsburgh, followed by number 2, Bend, Oregon. Congratulations, Bend.
Congratulations.
And way to suck so bad, Seattle.
Yeah, way to suck it.
All right, beer news. All right, we're back. Beer news.
That was interesting.
Hey, our normal segment, next segment, I think it's just a bomb, dude. We're not even going to play the theme music because it's bombing so bad.
That bad?
Yeah, no, it's bombing. Like the Kickstart My Heart. Like
yeah.
There hasn't been a decent Kickstarter in like months.
Maybe we should start one.
We should. We should. I'm not actually opposed to that. So, but I was digging in this thing, and so I type into the old Google machine here, beer Kickstarter. So generally I get stuff that pops up, and the very first thing that pops up was Beer Maker, BEERMAKR, the automatic beer making machine.
Really? What?
It's an automatic beer making machine. Basically, you buy a pouch of gel or shizzle, and then it creates beer out of it.
So basically like a Mr. Coffee for beer.
Yeah, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it got funded. But it was like from 2017 when I finally dug into it.
Yeah, and not only that, I think Beer Maker is now out of business.
Is it? I don't know if it is. I know Peekabrew was.
Oh, okay.
Peekabrew was the other one.
I know one of those like auto beer maker things just it floundered and went out of business, and now you can't even find parts or anything for it.
Yep. No. I think Beer Maker's still around, but it was fun. So it was an old one.
2017.
So then I'm digging around on there, and I'm looking for other good stuff. And
come on, Google, step up your game.
And one that was just funded, which was impressive. So literally, this just got funded in March of 2020.
Of 2020
was the Stasis craft brewing technology for home brewers.
Ooh, Stasis.
And it is a glycol cooler for home brewing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the Stasis basically had with it said in 2010 craft brew has been simplifying the home brewing process, comprising of delicious results, or making delicious. They're introducing their glycol chiller.
Huh.
And so it was going to actually go with a bunch of their other stuff. They've got a fermenter and some other stuff they're doing. It was seen in the American Homebrewers magazine, in Zimmergy, rather, in the Craft Beer and Brewing magazine.
Yeah.
All sorts of good stuff. So they were looking for this thing they were looking for $184,000 in funding.
And
so
they
massive.
made it.
And they made it with 273 backers. So and the other thing they were doing,
probably all brewers,
is the amount to pledge.
Yeah.
Was crazy. So the very first pledge, not $5, not $1,
probably $1,000,
$5.99,
$599 or
$599.
Damn.
And you got a special Kickstarter price by going in at that price. And the second was $829.
All right.
And had a couple others in there.
So these guys came to the plate thinking, hey, we're going to swing for the fence. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, go big or go home. So,
and they got funded.
They got funded. So, so it's I believe shipping and doing its thing, and they're doing what they want. But they've got glycol chilling, and I haven't looked it up. But that said, this was the second one I got.
Yeah.
And then the third one I went in and looked at. Ooh. Making things large on my screen.
Whoa.
The third thing that I went in there was a homebrewers dice game that looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what is this homebrewers dice game? Because we've done several of these games, right? We've done beer hop pong and what other games? Like
there was the
beer cards, beer facts.
Beer facts, yeah.
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 So this one's called Homebrewers Dice Game. And the Homebrewers Dice Game, you can pre-order. This thing also was funded. It had 764 backers looking for $35,000.
Funded from when?
2019.
Of course. What the hell, Google?
Yeah. So again, there's nothing updated. Beer. I don't know what's going on with Kickstarter. If people just aren't doing stuff on Kickstarter
they might
these
not
days.
Be.
So we need to think about how we do this a little bit different.
Yeah.
Debbie was saying, hey, you should look at other kind of crowdfunding sites and see what's going on. So one of the things that we like are the Portland Timbers and the soccer team. And we heard recently that Timber Jim, the original mascot of and number one fan of the Portland Timbers from back in the 70s or 80s and
way
90s,
back,
he's lost another daughter. So God forbid that ever happens to anybody, but Timber Jim's lost 2 daughters now. And so they were looking, Timber Joey, the second mascot of the Timbers, was looking at fundraising for funeral and medical bills.
Yes.
And so the first ask was like $35,000 and easily made it. The Timbers fans supported that.
Yeah.
And now they've gone back out and asked for $65,000. And I think they're just a hair short of that $65,000 at the time of the recording. But if you're a fan, certainly visit GoFundMe and type in Timber Joey and you'll find his GoFundMe that he's doing for Timber Jim.
Timber Jim.
To support Timber Jim. So, but type in Timber Joey, and you'll see the Portland Timbers fan base basically doing a fundraiser to support Timber Jim and his daughter's funeral expenses. So,
right.
Again, thoughts and prayers for your Timber Jim, and well done, Timber Joey, by trying to take care of, again, your mentor, your protege, and somebody we all hold dear, Timber Jim.
Right.
So that's where we'll leave this week's, I guess, Kickstarter for now. So, and then we'll start looking around at like Etsy and some of these other things.
See what else we can find in crowdfunding sources.
There's all sorts of cool stuff on Etsy when I type it in. And but one thing we've done in the past is looking at homebrew finds.
Yes.
So the top 5 things or top 7 things right now on this second that you can go on to homebrew finds right now. So these are the top gifts, the top deals that you can do.
Okay.
Right now, right this second. Food and Wine Magazine. You get a 1-year print subscription for $5 right now if you jump on.
For Food and Wine.
Food and Wine Magazine.
All right.
Okay. 1.5-inch tri-clamps.
Ooh, 1.5? How much?
1.5-inch tri-clamps with 1/2-inch female pipe threads. $11 right now. Plus free prime ship, so it's on Amazon.
Wow.
So that's a screaming deal.
That is a screaming deal.
Yeah. Last call, Chillzilla Counterflow Wort Chiller. If you don't have a wort chiller, the Chillzilla is the way to go. That's $129.99. You're saving $90, almost $100 off right now.
That's crazy.
If you go on there. So that's one of the big deals going on right now on homebrew finds. 10x4 stainless steel hop spider is $13 right now.
All right.
So a hop spider, that's a pretty good deal for stainless steel, and that's a pretty big hop spider.
That is a big hop spider.
Matches Black Friday. Let's see, the Barley Crusher malt mill. If you don't have a malt mill, $119.99 for one. You're basically saving about $40. And then there's a 7.9-gallon fermenter with transfer spigot for $20 right now.
$20?
$20 for a transfer spigot.
That's crazy.
So essentially, this is More Beer's brew bucket with a transfer spigot on it. So it's a plastic bucket. So, but still, $20 is not bad for a plastic bucket with the fermenter on top and all that type, or the airlock on top and all that. So. But yeah, there you go. There's our top homebrew finds right now at this second. So if you go to homebrew finds, go on the right side and hit top homebrew deals. You can always check their top deals. Pretty awesome thing. All right. I'm still tasting that smoke, my friend.
Yeah, it's making you cough.
You need
I'm
to go
empty.
smoke a couple beers.
I done cleaned them up.
All right. Well, so what's going on homebrew-wise? You had a hell of a homebrew day.
Oh, my God. So I think my 2021 build up to all the Christmas beers that I was doing to give out at Christmas just went a little too smooth for the beer god's liking. Because I started my first batch of 2022. I decided to try a brand new recipe. And it felt great about it last night. Got it all designed. Got up this morning, started brewing. And everything that could go wrong with brewing went wrong. Literally everything. Did not hit the original gravity that I needed for some odd reason. I have no idea why. Something in efficiency or conversion didn't happen the way it was supposed to. So then I had to dump a bunch of DME in there to try and get it up, and thought I was there, and I still don't think I made it. Then I had a hot break issue going on where it was pushing a lot of hot break out of my all-in-one. So I took the lid off, and it had filled the bubbler with a dark liquid, so I had to take that upstairs, clean that out. Brought it back down, put it on, forgot to tri-clamp it, and another hot break happened, so I moved the lid. Off went the tri-clamp attachment, took the bubbler with it. I was using a glass bubbler, so it shattered that all over the floor. Luckily, I still had a plastic one in my backup kit, so I got to use that. Got done with all that and tried to cool it off. Doesn't want to cool off. Just doesn't want to drop temperature.
Just fighting it. Nothing can go easy today.
Yeah, it's like the beer didn't want to be brewed.
And what are you brewing today?
I am brewing a take of the white stout that I've done several times, except this time I'm making it not a white stout. I'm just making it a coffee stout, but with only 2 grains. Both Mecca grade grains, Opal 44 and Opal 22, just to see what that tastes like and to see if I could get the color. And sure enough, I definitely have the color. But I'm not sure about the taste. The wort's tasting a little bitter, and it was tasting a little bitter even before I put in the hop addition. So I'm not sure how this one's going to turn out.
Interesting. I'm looking as you're talking about that. I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on homebrew-wise on Etsy.
Yeah.
They're selling a bottle of diacetyl.
What?
Somebody's selling a bottle of diacetyl. 1 liter of diacetyl.
Why would you want butter?
I have no idea. But you can order. It says, odor is sweet, creamy, buttery, pungent, and with a caramelic... I didn't even know what that word. Caramelic nuisance.
They're making that shit up.
In fragrance, diacetyl is a strong, sweet scent for butters and creamy caramels.
Huh.
We recommend this material is used as a 1% dilution, soluble in alcohol, fixed oils, and glycerin. So this is straight 500 grams of diacetyl.
Straight up.
$33 for this diacetyl. So somebody's taking this off of their beers.
How the hell? So $33 for a can of diacetyl. We need to figure out how they captured that.
How they capturing diacetyl, dude?
That's nice.
What the holy heck?
Well, hey, that's somebody that just upped the game. I mean, they're capturing off flavors and off gassing, and
somehow they're scraping diacetyl off.
I don't
think
get
you
it.
could, but like
I didn't think you could either.
That's some crazy crap right there.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep, I agree. So,
what are you gonna do? Pour it on your waffles in the morning?
I clicked on it. I was like, is somebody adding that to beer? Like, what is the use for that? When I clicked it open, it was like, oh yeah, you can use this for perfume. I'm like,
oh,
you want to put butter on you for perfume? Why not just take a stick of margarine and just rub
it on?
Yeah. What are you doing? Like, it's just terrible ideas. So. Oh, well, craziness in this world. So.
Oh, diacetyl.
All right. Well, so we've got some great stuff coming up. So in the new year, and Gary's got the hiccups. So we have an interview with Art Lawrence that we recorded a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so look for that on the next podcast episode coming up. We will, again, part of our legacy series, learn all about kind of the foundations of Art Lawrence and brewing and where he was and what he's been doing. And then we are planning again to continue the legacy series going into 2022. So
yes,
should be fun stuff there.
If I'm remembering correctly, we are supposed to be doing a part 2 with Art Lawrence as well.
We are. He invited us over to carry on that conversation. So, but with that, I think we'll close it out for the week and for sure come back next week with something new and entertaining.
Yes.
And kind of go from there. So with that, we'll close it out. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks for making 2021 was great. And Tim Beers.
Tim Beers.
Thanks for listening to the Portland Tim Beers Podcast. Be sure to visit the Portland Tim Beers Podcast on acast.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. If you love the Tim Beers Podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time, Tim Beers.